Hey everybody, I'm Bob Lucido and you're back in the Bearcat Training Camp where we are offering in-depth business building training for Team Beachbody Coaches. Alright, a couple of weeks ago we started phase 2 of our trainings and we started to talk about how to present the business opportunity. The first couple of videos we covered some concepts that I wanted to share with you to keep in mind while you are sharing the opportunity. Today what I'm going to do is actually share with you my outline, the outline that I use when I'm presenting the business opportunity. And this can be either one-on-one to an individual or in a group setting, either live or through a Zoom chat or a webinar or whatever avenue you choose. But you can take this outline and tailor it, tweak it a little bit, bring yourself into it a little bit. And make sure that you are connecting correctly with the audience that you're sharing with. So take the pieces that make sense and pull out whatever doesn't make sense, okay? If you followed me in phase 1, you know that I'm not really a believer in scripts. And so I'm not going to be handing you a scripted business opportunity presentation. And I don't keep a script myself. I do keep an outline though, so that I make sure that I am touching upon what I think are the key points in sharing the business opportunity presentation, okay? So let's jump right in. It starts with sharing who is Beachbody, who is this company that you are offering an opportunity for this individual or group of individuals to partner with. That's got to be number one. You have to introduce who is Beachbody. Answer the question, who is Beachbody? And I always like to start off by saying what I'm sharing with you is an opportunity to partner with an industry-leading company that creates, produces, and distributes some of the world's greatest result-driven health and fitness products. You may have heard of a few. Have you heard of P90X or Insanity, Shakeology maybe? And run down the list. Chances are the person or people in the audience who you're sharing with have heard of one of our products. And that's a really cool thing, by the way. And when I get that kind of a response of the, oh yes, I've heard of that PX90 thing, I like to make sure that I dive right in right there, pointing out what an amazing positive that is for the presentation, the business opportunity right from the beginning. By making sure that I share with this prospect, these are the products you're going to be sharing. And one of the most amazing things about this opportunity is that you get to partner with a company that has already driven brand awareness for you and continues to spend hundreds of millions of dollars a year on pushing brand awareness, making sure that there is product recognition already built out there, at least to a large extent, before you even get out there and start sharing. So the opportunity that you have before you is to share products that people are already looking for. You're not out there, trying to fill a marketing gap or trying to bring a new product to people or trying to share or describe or in any way sell some new principle or product. What you're really trying to do as a coach is share and make available products that people are already looking for, okay? And I like to get that out right away in the presentation, right off the bat as I introduce who Beachbody is, who Team Beachbody is, who the prospects will be partnering with should they decide to become a coach. And then you can dig into that a little bit further. And again, all the information that I'm sharing with you, use the outline and then you fill it in the live presentation, depending on what's making sense, depending on what the conversation is and the responses and replies that are coming back to you from the prospect or prospects that you're sharing with. But some of the things to share in this Who is Beachbody section are digging in a little bit more into the infomercial side of things, maybe tell a little bit about the history of Beachbody. Beachbody started as an infomercial company primarily, and then had some great success with some of the initial products that they created, produced, and were distributing at that time through the infomercial avenue solely. And those are Slim and Six, Turbo Jam, and of course P90X. And that's when things really exploded and Beachbody was really put on a map in the health and fitness industry. The P90X skyrocket, okay? And that's some nice, interesting stuff for you to share, but it also gives you an opportunity to give some history of who this company is that you're inviting these people to become partners with, okay? So share a little bit of that. I like to also talk about the fact that our products now are showing up in gyms all across the country because of the new live certification programs. And so that, again, another avenue for driving brand recognition, driving demand out there in the market for what you, Mr. or Mrs. Future Coach, will eventually be distributing. And then you can start talking about some of the stuff that's going on, contemporaneously, whatever the newest thing is. Right now, you know, the Ironman races who are going to be using the performance line. That's great stuff to talk about. Again, examples of how brand recognition and product awareness are driven by Team Beachbody, so that as coaches, we don't have to do that part. We just step in as the people who are ready, willing, and able to get those things to the people who are looking for them, okay? And then another thing that's kind of nice to talk about in this section of who is Beachbody is to highlight some of the sort of star success stories that can help familiarize and drive things home to people. You know, Pink's a big proponent of Beachbody, and you know, the number of stars. Oprah has talked about Shakeology in her Oprah magazine. Eddie Lacy in the NFL has just recently been working with Tony Horton. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And you can find that stuff in the online office. There's some examples, or just Google if you want, you know, Beachbody and movie stars or whatever. But again, not that you're going to give this whole sort of laundry list kind of presentation. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to lose your audience. But I want you in section number 1 of your outline to be thinking about that the first thing you want to do is tell your prospect, your audience, who is Beachbody. Okay, and you take any of this stuff. Another thing that I like to share in this section right up front is also, you know, after delivering some of what I just shared with you, going on and talking about the fact that although this is a very young company, this company is also an industry leader in the network marketing industry now. And you can talk about some of the awards that Team Beachbody has won. And again, if you're somebody who likes slides and PowerPoints, you can even show some of that stuff. I'm not really a slide PowerPoint person. I'm just not the kind of presentations I usually do, and it's not where I feel comfortable for a host of reasons. Not that I need to get into that now, but you choose what you like to do. In some cases and in some instances, they can be powerful. Some of the slides that I do like to put up is after I say, you know, that this is a very young company, but a company that has already jumped to become an industry leader, is also a company that has phenomenal, or has had phenomenal fiscal success in its first 8 to 10 years of life. And you can share some of the slides of the fiscal growth that Team Beachbody and Beachbody have enjoyed. And some of those slides were shared at the Coach Summit this past year. They're often shared year after year at the leadership events. So they're available for you to get. In fact, I'll post some of those up on the Bearcat Training Camp Facebook page, so you can have access to those. But again, something you can add to beefing up this who is Beachbody section. Who is this company that you're inviting these folks to consider partnering with? Let's just make sure I got everything. Also, you know, this is a good place also to share that Beachbody is not only a recognized industry leader in the United States, but we are now also in Canada, and the coaching opportunity is growing in Canada. The products are, again, industry leaders in Canada. We're also now branching out into the UK with at least the trainer certification programs. And my understanding is that Insanity Trainer Certification is one of, if not the leading live fitness certification program in the UK right now. And that, of course, this company, this opportunity to connect yourself in a business sense is also one that is fresh and new and has a very wide spectrum of vision for the future with the eventual expansion worldwide. And sharing about the success in the United States and then growing into Canada, what's happening in the UK, talking a little bit about how we have now also made most of our coaching resources and fitness programs available in Spanish and French as well. Again, great indicators to share about where we're going and how this company is growing, and great tidbits to be sharing in this first section of who is Beachbody. Learn the story a little bit so that you can share the story a little bit better each and every time you share. Okay, so that's number one. Introduce Team Beachbody and Beachbody. Introduce right out of the box who it is that you're inviting these people to partner with, okay? And the second thing is, the second question that you should be answering is, what is a Team Beachbody coach? And again, I like to start with a little history lesson here and tell the story that when Carl Deichler and John Congdon, the founders of Beachbody, found themselves with this amazingly, surprisingly skyrocketing successful product, P90X, they had to make a big decision. They were courted by the Costco's and the Walmarts of the world to get these products on the shelf and sort of go a sort of traditional marketing and distribution route, but they decided to do something different. They noticed and realized that one of the things that was really driving the success of P90X was this peer support component. It was the fact that through the infomercial avenue and the ability to share real people working out at home with real before and after pictures was something that was a little bit different about how the product was being shared. And then you put that together with the ability for people to actually have real life examples in front of them. You know, Cousin Joe down the street did that, the P90X thing, or the person at the office is doing that Turbo Jam thing, or you know, the woman in my such and such class did that Slim and Six thing. People seeing real people in their lives who were attaining these amazing and wonderful and crazy results that were being shown on the infomercials turned out to be a really important and powerful component in the sharing of these products and the bringing them out into the market and into the stream. Recognizing that and truly wanting to do really sort of two things, I think. Leverage that, number one, and then secondly, offer reward and continued incentive to the customers who were having great success and were experiencing these amazing life transformations, to empower them to do the sort of natural thing, which is to then pay it forward, but to reward them for doing so, because there was a recognition that that was already happening. And so those two things, to leverage the fact that this peer support in this real live connection of people actually doing the products and having the success, had a power. And then secondly, the intention to reward those doing it and living it, but also incentivize them to keep doing it and living it. And that's a cool sort of side effect, by the way, and here's a little footnote for you, but I'm a huge believer that becoming a coach, beyond being a great business opportunity, is a great opportunity to help you maintain your health and fitness. And that's why we are not so much the yo-yo dieting syndrome where people lose weight and gain it back, lose weight and gain it back, because being part of this community of coaches and customers and Team Beachbody and the peer support and the community support really does help you to continue on down that road, to support you down that road. So anyways, sharing that aspect of the sort of beginnings of where coaching came from. And then talking about how Carl and John made a decision that because of those things, that they were going to go the route of network marketing, relationship marketing, to get their products out into the world, secondary to what was happening through the infomercial marketing, and to move in that direction. And that was the birth of coaching. That's where it came from. So that's a great place to start when you're sharing what is a coach, okay? Giving a little history of where it came from. And then after you've shared that, just put it in a sentence. A coach is a distributor. You are a product distributor. Sometimes people are afraid of sharing that, and I don't know why, especially if you're presenting a business opportunity. That's the business opportunity. As a coach, you have the exclusive rights to distribute so many of the Team Beachbody products, and the dual right to distribute some of them with Beachbody. That's what we are. We're distributors of the products, and we have the ability to earn income in the many different ways that we talked about in the previous two videos, so I'm not going to go through that again, but you'll be armed with that discussion, and this is a good place where that would come in when you're putting your discussion together. So the things that you want to make sure that you are really nailing in this section of what is a coach is some of that history, like I said, about where it came from, that we're distributors, and talk a little bit about the distribution model and how we earn income. A little bit here, because we're going to talk specifically about earning income later in the presentation. So here you're just going to kind of give a little bit, as much as I just gave a second ago, but no more. And make sure that you're bringing out the concepts of the peer support, driving success and results through peer support and connection, and the recognition by John, Carl, the corporate team, of the power that those components can add and do add, and can really make us different, really, in this terms of getting people success. There's lots of great health and fitness products out there, let's face it. The real magic, in my opinion, to the Beachbody scenario is that partnership, that peer support, that connection, that community and communal aspect that comes out and that is driven forward, that actually supports people to get the success and to keep it. Okay, so you add whatever else you want to do. Those are the things I like to cover when I'm sharing number 2, which is what is a Beachbody coach. The next one is who can become a coach. Okay, and last week or the week before, we went through the whole idea of making sure that you keep in your mind that anyone can be a coach, and to be able to share that. And here's right where you're going to share it. I like to share the fact that most people, most coaches, were customers first and fell in love with our products for one reason or the other, had their own personal experience with it, and then developed into advocates and fans, and especially interested in helping other people to have the same kind of experience that they had with the products that they now believe in, and then develop into coaches. And that's the sort of most common avenue, but then also opening the doors to sharing what we talked about in the other videos, which is that's just one scenario. And the fact is anyone can be a coach. There's no special licensures required. You don't need to be a health and fitness professional. There's no licenses or certifications or anything specific that's required to be a coach. And sharing that right out front. And then I'd like to give some examples, though, of who can be coaches. What are some of those options? And of course, is covering just sort of the customers, lay people, looking for an opportunity for an at-home business. I tell my own story. I was an attorney for 20 years, so I didn't have anything to do with sales. I've never been in network marketing before. I was not a health and fitness professional. I was a litigation attorney, okay? So I'm sort of the example of the lay person here coming in, and then share some stories from your team, like we talked about in the earlier videos. Personalize it. Here's your chance to personalize it. Who can become a coach? Talk about that. Okay. One of the other groups that can become a coach are fitness professionals, and I'm going to put an asterisk next to that one because I want to come back to that just briefly, because I think if you're talking to fitness professionals specifically, then there are some specific things that you want to talk about and share. And one of the things that you might want to do too is go back to the phase 1 videos and listen to the interview I did with Don Murphy, who is a highly successful fitness professional. He's a trainer and a gym owner himself, and has an amazing success story in health and fitness already before becoming a coach, and did a great presentation on how people coming from that world can also have great success as Beachbody coaches, either merging it with what they're doing or potentially even using it as a stepping stone to recreate what they're doing. So anyways, that's a side note. The other people, or the other entities, by the way, and not just people, that you want to make sure that you're making it clear can become coaches are corporate entities. Many times people don't realize that if they're a gym owner or a club owner, or certain entities are allowed to be coaches under our P&P policies and procedures, and you want to be familiar with what some of the examples of some of those are, especially if you're presenting to a group of business owners, so that you can talk about how corporate entities can become coaches and what that might look like. Again, just briefly, and tailoring what you're presenting to who your audience is. The next are nonprofits, and there's a specific avenue for nonprofits to become coaches. And there's some pretty cool things down that avenue. They don't have to pay the business service fee. They don't have to pay the business startup fee. So there's some cool things to share there. And some people have done some great things with church groups and PTAs and school groups, and all kinds of, again, success stories of nonprofits who have taken advantage of the coach business opportunity. Familiarize yourself with some of those so that you can also make sure that you're sprinkling some of that in. You don't know who's in your audience who may have a nonprofit or two, or be involved, or have a light bulb that goes off down that avenue. But if you don't share that, then you won't have that opportunity. And the next one, of course, is military personnel and their spouses, active military and their spouses, who can become Team Beachbody coaches, and similar to the nonprofits, don't pay the business service fee and don't pay the business startup fee. So really they can come in and become a coach for free, literally. And that very first sale can be used to activate them. They're up and running with a free opportunity to build an at-home business for themselves and open up a second income, and who knows, maybe eventually in the future, a full-time primary income. Okay, so those are some of the things that you want to be sharing, some of the possibilities. And then of course I always in this section like to circle back and say, but you don't have to be any of those things. Anyone can be a coach from any background, okay? But now kind of go back up to the asterisk, and I'm sorry to kind of be a little bit convoluted here, but when you are sharing with people in the professional or professionals in the health industry, the fitness or health industry, here's a few things to think about sharing. And again, go back and listen to that Don Murphy interview in the guest section. You did a great job. But one of the main things that you want to be sharing, in my mind, is really focusing in on Shakeology and the nutrition line. and now also the performance line. Because most of the time, if you're dealing with someone who's already a professional in the health and fitness world, they're looking to see how Beachbody can merge with what they're already doing. Very rarely are you going to speak with someone coming from that industry or that profession who's looking to replace what they're doing if they're looking at Beachbody. So keep that in mind. And a couple of the great connection places are the Shakeology, the nutrition component, the performance line, helping them to be able to share products that are going to enhance and drive success with the people that they're already working with in whatever mode or whatever avenue they're working with. The second is self-preservation, opening up a secondary line of income, diversifying a little bit. Becoming a coach gives a health and fitness professional an opportunity to diversify, but while still staying in what it is that they're doing. So self-preservation is a good topic to talk about and share. Opening a potential new income stream, especially for people who are primarily training people. Again, oftentimes bringing in the Shakeology or the nutritional line support does two things. It allows them to open up a new line of income, but it also allows them a new avenue to help drive success with the people that they're working with without competing with what they're already doing, because they're just adding on top of. Another thing that's useful in sharing with this group is the fact that they have the ability to share already packaged systems. So this is something that's not going to involve necessarily future training relationship. They're already packaged system that a health and fitness professional can add to what they're already sharing. They get the opportunity to leverage Team Beachbody and Beachbody marketing, like we talked about in the beginning. They even get to leverage the contests, right? So that they can have their clients competing in all of the contests that corporate is sponsoring all throughout the year. And as coaches, we don't have to give out the prizes. Corporate does that. We don't have to worry about any of the admin related to those things. It's just an amazing opportunity to, again, add some components to what they're already doing. Sort of adding a feather to their cap, adding opportunity to become certified in some different programs that they can share, opportunity to add some nutritionals to support to what they're doing, opportunity to leverage brand recognition and what corporate is doing to promote the products that they can now add, and then adding in and leveraging what I was talking about in terms of all of the contests that they now have the ability also to add their people to. Okay, so those are some of the things that you can share. Again, another thing is the residual income component, the opportunity to open up a new income stream that is not based on trading hours for dollars, because trust me, people coming from the health and fitness profession already understand the limits that are created by living in a world where you're trading time for dollars, and that's all your income is dependent upon. There's only so many hours a day, and it doesn't matter how great you are and how much your hourly rate is, there's still only so many hours a day. And this is a great opportunity for fitness professionals to open up and create some new opportunity for themselves. Okay, so those are some specific things that you might share with that group, or if you're speaking with an individual and you're doing this one-on-one. Okay? So we've spent way too much time on all that, so we'll keep going. The next one is, what does a coach do? And here you're going to talk about the peer support aspect of what we do. And again, you're kind of always circling back. I like to think of, for those of you who have ever sewn in your life, you sort of go through and then you come back, and then you go through and then you're going forward, and you're always kind of reweaving this presentation. So we talked about peer support, right? So you don't have to talk about it all over again. Just key back to it. One of the key things that we do as coaches is provide peer support for our customers to drive their success forward and support them to become better customers. Successful customers come back and continue to use the products that they have found success with. We're there to help that process along. Okay, so we offer peer support. You can talk a little bit about challenge groups or fit clubs, or the online connection through social media. However you want to share the many aspects of the peer support piece. That's one of the big things we do as coaches. Of course, we're product distributors as well, and make sure you talk about that. Is what does a coach do? We distribute health and fitness products. Here's where you get an opportunity to describe that coach to customer relationship that gets created, and that aspect of coaching. We talked about that in just a couple of the earlier videos. And then you also want to talk about the fact that coaches also build networks. Coaches also seek business partners and empower them to do the same thing of getting result-driven, proven products to the people who are looking for them and helping those people get the success that they're looking for. That's what we do in our customer base, and we also have the opportunity to create a network of people, our team, doing the same thing, and then the opportunity to open income streams from both of those activities. Okay, that's what we do as coaches. And get really, again, here's the point, get really personal is where I was going to go with that, but here's the place where you get into what we talked about in, I don't remember if it was video 1 or 2, but one of them, or maybe even both. Here's where you get to really personalize it. Talk about your story. What do you do as a coach? What are you excited about? When I get to this point and I say, what does a coach do? For me, I have a concept of what that is. I think as coaches, we bring a wave of positive life change across the country and eventually across the world. And that's an amazing thing to be part of. We help others to live happy, fulfilling lives, reaching their dreams and goals. That's a cool thing to be part of. We help people get healthy and fit. We help people build their own businesses and open opportunity in their own lives that they are looking to open. These are many of the things that we do as coaches, and here's the place where you share those things. I'm not a fan of getting into a detailed presentation of how to run a challenge group here, by the way. I think you lose your audience as soon as you get into that. They haven't said yes yet, so why? I don't want to take them too far under the hood and show them how the engine works. I'll show you that when you tell me that yes, you want in, but let's not lose them. Over detailing your presentation will lose your prospect too soon. Remember, the goal here is really simply to get them to come back to you and say, yes, that sounds cool, I want to learn more. Okay? That's where we want to get to with this. And I'll go deeper and deeper in more detail and layer with my prospects or with my audience once we get to the end here and we open it up for questions. Then you can go down and throw some specifics in. But stick tight to the concepts that I'm sharing with you. I really am a believer in that. It's only my opinion, of course, but I've found this stuff to be the stuff that works for connection, and I've watched coach after coach after coach in my own organization who have picked this up and duplicated it and used this outline or similar to it have amazing success. Okay, so a couple of others, and I just have, and again, I don't like scripting, but I did just write down a couple of ideas that you want to keep in your mind. Sharing the fact that what we're doing is sharing products, tools, resources, and opportunity that create real positive life change. Okay, and that concept I think is really what you want to be focusing on. We're at this point where you're sharing what does a coach do. I believe you want to share big picture stuff. I think you want to talk about the mission to end the trend of obesity. I think, and here might be a cool place if you're a slide person, if you're a PowerPoint person, the slides that were shown at Summit, and again, I'll put some up on the page so you have them, that show the atrocity of the obesity epidemic that's going on in our country and in the world right now, and the graph showing obesity growing at an alarming rate even though it's being attacked by gyms in the health and fitness industry already and Team Beachbody now, and talking a little bit about that fight that we're part of as coaches. Talk a little bit about, again, if you're doing pure business opportunity here and you're talking to people who maybe aren't focusing so much on the products or the industry that we're sharing, but are interested in a business opportunity, that might be the place to talk about how we are able to, and the success stories that you are familiar with of lives being changed by the ability to open secondary income. Great place to talk about the fact that when we went through the real estate bust a couple of years ago, and there's some great statistics out there. Do your research, arm yourself. It was something ridiculous, like another $200 a month or something coming into the average household of people who were losing their homes to foreclosure would have meant the difference between saving those homes or losing your home. That's a great thing to be able to be sharing with as well, when you're sharing this opportunity as a potential to being something that could have filled that kind of gap for people, and sharing that aspect of things, of what coaching is. Okay. The next thing that you're going to want to share in your outline is what support and training people are going to get, okay? Because at this point, who's Beachbody? What is a coach? Who can become a coach? What does a coach do? If they're still with you, then they're pretty interested. And the next thing you want to show them is you're not alone in this business, okay? And we talked about that in phase 2, video number 2. All that stuff basically that I went through in that whole almost hour-long video is stuff that would be appropriate right here. Talking about the support and training that you get, talking about the level playing field stuff. Talk about your team here. Brag up your team a little bit. Brag up the Bearcat Training Camp if you want to. What are you going to get? You're going to get free training. You're going to get an amazing resource center in your online office. As a previous business owner, someone who used to spend thousands and thousands of dollars a month just to make a weekly paycheck, thousands and thousands in overhead, I am someone who very, very deeply appreciates all the free training, free sources, free support that we get as coaches. The way that I share it with people is that when you pay $15.95 for that online office, you're given the keys to a Ferrari business. You really are. Whether you build it to that or not is up to you. Whether or not you can get the key in the engine and get it going, that's up to you, but that's what you have in that resource set. The resources that we have available to us just on that online office are amazing. And you want to be familiar with some of that so you can share some of that, of the what do you get, and assuring them that they're not going to be alone. This is a great place to talk about this is a team sport. Hey, you're going to get me as a business partner, first of all. So, you've got an expert co-pilot right away from day one. I'm going to be there by your side, working with you every step of the way if you really want to do this until you're up and running. You're also going to have access to and talk about all the training programs that your team offers. Talk about the opportunities to get to Super Saturday trainings. Talk about the opportunities to get to Summit. And the trainings and the support that are available to everyone in this business, both through the corporate structure, your team structure, the network, cross-line leaders, all of that stuff. Brag that stuff up in this section, because I'm going to tell you, one of the biggest objections or stumbling blocks for most prospects is thinking that they're going to have to go it alone. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, it looks like an amazing opportunity. And in the back of their head, they're saying, but I can't do it. But I'll never figure out how to do that. I won't be able to put all those pieces together. Sounds cool for somebody else. You have to help them get over those thoughts by showing them and talking about what they're going to get. Because let's face it, it's pretty darn amazing. That's one of the most exciting things for me. When I was first looking at this business, was the amazing support, free training, and resources that are all at your fingertips right from the beginning. So you want to make sure you're sharing that. And you know, even if you're a brand new coach, and I know some of you out there going, oh, but I just signed up today or this month, and you know, what getting me as a business partner, what good is that? Well, here's the deal. Getting you as a peer support is gold. And getting you to be the one who can direct them to the places to leverage to get further training and support is gold. And those are the things that you can offer. You're the access, you're the gateway into your team, you're the gateway into your organization, you're the gateway into the national network. And those are the gifts that you have that you're able to offer to these prospects. Okay, so moving right along. The next thing is, how does a coach earn money? Okay, and we talked about this again in video number 1 and for phase 2, so I'm not going to go through it all in great detail again, but talk about the retail side of earning straight commissions through retail sales. Talk a little bit about how this is a drop ship opportunity, which means they're not stocking inventory. Talk a little bit about how all the sales and purchases go through their form website that they get as part of their Coach Business Center. That's part of their $15.95 business service fees, is they're going to get 2 or 3 now, I think, basically storefront portals, the main Team Beachbody one, the Shakeology one, and the Ultimate Reset one. And that's where sales are going to go through. Break down a little bit the commission scheme, and I don't go into any great detail here other than to say basically you have the opportunity through the retail sales component to earn 25% commission on all the products that you sell through your website portals, up to 35% on some challenge pack products, and up to 50% on club membership. And here's a little where you can talk a little bit about how exciting that is now with the Beachbody on Demand component. Beachbody on Demand component, which allows access to the streaming workouts, access to Autumn's brand new cooking show, and you know, guaranteed there's more on the way in that Beachbody on Demand component. So those are the sort of retail cycles, and then also share here the opportunity to earn an income stream through team building. And again, I don't go into any great detail here. I'm not going to break down Team Cycle Bonus in a presentation, in a business opportunity presentation. But I am going to say you have the ability to earn bonuses based on the volume that your team produces beneath you. There is a compensation plan that defines how that works and how eligibility is earned for those bonuses and the amounts that you qualify for, but you have the opportunity to open up a stream of income that is dependent not upon trading your hours for dollars, but based upon what your team does. And your team will be comprised of people that you sponsor into the business, people they sponsor into the business, and sometimes even people who are sponsored into the business by people above you, as well as customers placed into any of those businesses through any of the customer referral programs, so on and so forth. And you know, you can layer it as you feel appropriate. I don't really ever go too much deeper than that, again, until I'm in a follow-up conversation answering questions and going for further clarity. At this point, we're just trying to make sure that we're giving enough information to educate our prospects to the point where they can say, yeah, that sounds really good, I want to know more. That's our goal. Once we get into that conversation, then you can break down some more details and answer specific questions and guide them right up to the next piece. But before we go to the next piece, let me also say that here is also where you should be sharing, and again, not in great detail, the fact that beyond the retail sales commissions and beyond the team cycle bonus, the team-based bonus, we also have the ability to earn matching bonuses, which is income streams based on the success of our own personally sponsored people, and we have the ability to earn incentive trips should you qualify for those. And you can talk a little bit about that aspect too. That's often very exciting for people coming into an at-home business. And I mean, let's face it, it was exciting to me too, for my family. You know, I practiced law for 20 years, but barely had any time to do any kind of vacation time. For the first few years for me, one of the very exciting parts about being a coach was the ability to go on the Success Club trips, the leadership trips and summit, and the opportunity to do some of that I just didn't have the ability to do before because of either time or income issues. And also sharing here the real sort of family support aspect of Team Beachbody. I always bring my family, my kids go, my wife goes, and I'm at all of the events, and it's very supportive of that aspect of life change as well. And again, sort of the sharing and conveying and focusing on the positive life change opportunity that we're presenting. And there's lots of different levels of that. So again, think out of the box. Stuff I'm sharing with you here is some of the stuff that comes out in my presentations. It's never all of this stuff, but it's some of this stuff based on who I'm talking to and how that conversation is going. You can add, take away, do whatever you think, but the concept here is really describing, I head this by saying, how do coaches earn money? But it really might be, what are the benefits you receive as a coach? And as I'm thinking aloud here, presenting it, that might be a better way to even present this heading, because you're going to talk more about just the income stream. Again, I mentioned before, I really believe that one of the big benefits here of being part of this community as a coach, whether or not you open some big income stream or not, is the side effect of staying healthy and fit. I lost 70 pounds about 8 years ago now, and I guarantee you the only reason why I've been able to keep that off for 8 years is because I'm a coach, because I'm living this life, because I'm actively engaged in walking the talk, being what I'm actually sharing. And I also believe that's why I've had the success that I've had. I'm a living, breathing, walking, talking Beachbody advocate, 100% all day long. And there's some great benefits to being that, and they're not all just financial. So here's a place to share that, okay? Now, and I know this has been a long-winded presentation, but I want to get it all to you. The final component, the final piece on your outline is, how do I become a coach? So after you've presented all of that, I put this at the end because I want to follow this up with the invitation. Let's wrap it up with the invitation. Be careful that you're not anticlimactic in your presentation. A lot of times people talk about this up front, and you really become a coach and to go through the $39.95 or the challenge pack avenue or the nonprofit or the military, and all those things we've covered in video 1 and 2, so I'm not going to break it down again. You know how people become a coach. Here's where you present it, and so you go through those few options. But now I want to do this at the end, because once I go through what the options are, I then want to invite them and end with a closing statement that is an invitation to join me now. And you put together your own invitation, but I want to ask you, after everything I've just shared with you, would you please join me in this mission to get positive life change out to as many people as possible? My mission, once I got touched by the magic wand of what Team Beachbody is, when I lost 70 pounds and got my physical health back, when I stepped into becoming a Coach Business Center owner and was able to retire myself from my 20-year legal career and now live the life of sharing both of those kinds of success stories with others, It has become my mission to repeat that over and over and over as many times as possible, and to be part of as many success stories as I can possibly be part of. And I can only reach more people if you help me. Please join me. If you want to learn how you can join today, contact me right away. If we're in a live interaction, come up and talk to me after this interaction. If I'm talking with you one-on-one, I'm always ready to get you signed up right at the end of our conversation, and you should be ready for that too. Make the invite and be ready to take action. If that sounds good and that sounds like something you want to be part of and take advantage of, I can get you set up right now. It really only takes about 15 minutes. Are you ready? End with an invitation. All right, guys, next week we'll be diving into some other stuff, okay? That's 3 straight videos on support for helping you to get better at presenting the business opportunity, whether it's one-on-one, in a live group setting, or through a webinar, or however it is that you're going to do it. I hope that these things help you to put together your own business opportunity presentation. Remember, it's important that it's yours. That's why I gave it to you in this format. I gave you some concepts to begin with. I gave you a rough outline to close it down here. You have to be the one who fleshes it out, because it's got to be genuine, it's got to be real, it's got to come from you, it's got to come from your own heart and your own belief, because that's how you will connect with people. All right? See you next time.